like so close to having the league championship series set. So close. We got game 5, battle of the bullpens between Cleveland and the Yankees at Yankee Stadium tonight. Peter, before we get any farther, are you going?
No, I don't think I'm gonna go. I should go. Should I go?
You should. I
I
understand if you don't want to go. You already have
oh
been to
no, I
2
I
games.
want to go. Do I want to spend another 250 $300 on tickets when I can just watch it here, maybe stream live? I'm not sure yet. We're recording at 9 in the morning. Currently, I am unsure.
Make a game time decision. So we're
Yes.
getting you set for game 5. Winner take all in the ALDS between the Yankees and the Guardians. Savali and Tyon are the starters. Take those with a grain of salt because they're not really starters. They're pretty
No.
much openers in this game. So we're going to talk about what to expect from game 5. Before we do that, Garrett Cole pitched out of his mind wonderfully in Cleveland on Sunday night. We also got to talk about the other 3 series that wrapped and have the NLCS set and one half of the ALCS set. This is the Just Baseball Show, Monday, October 17th. Jack, Peter, and man, I mean, let's start with game 4 at the P last night, because you said just before we started recording, Garrett Cole earned his pinstripes. And to that, I say, yes, he kind of did it before in the regular season because he has been one of the best regular season pitchers in baseball, like across the league since he came over to the Yankees. This is year 3 with New York. I mean,
Yes.
he's on the short list of best pitchers in baseball every single year because of how many innings he throws, how many strikeouts he accumulates. This was his one rough year ERA rise, and still a rough year is like a 3.5 ERA. But him showing this in the postseason, not just game 1 at Yankee Stadium, but game 4 in a hostile environment in Cleveland was incredible. And I think I'm done doubting him in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm done doubting him too. I think the only reason I doubted him was the image of him getting blown up at Fenway in such a pivotal game just burned so clearly in my mind. And I think it burned in a lot of Yankees fans' minds because you look at the overall numbers in the postseason. I mean, Garrett Cole in the postseason, when you add the Astros into the equation, has an ERA under 3. All the peripherals look awesome. And all the peripherals are always going to look awesome for Garrett Cole because he's a high strikeout guy. He doesn't walk anyone. He pounds the strike zone, and his only issue is giving up home runs. He was one of the league leaders in home runs this year. You have Josiah Gray, who I don't even know if he qualifies. So if you look at qualified pitchers with over 150 innings, Garrett Cole is your league leader in home runs this season. So moving off of the bad start in Boston, then to a season where he had a massive home run problem, it's not that he had a bad season. It's just that caught up to him and that burned the image in a lot of Yankees fans' minds. So I think myself and a lot of Yankee fans, understandably, were nervous for these starts. We understand his stats with Houston, but with Houston, that was kind of the sticky stuff era a little bit. Like, I'm not going to fully take that out of the equation and just say, oh, that was exactly what is happening right now. Garrett Cole looked like a different pitcher with the Houston Astros, which is okay. He looked like the best pitcher of all time with the Houston Astros. It was unbelievable. That's why he got $324 million and hasn't been the exact same guy. But with all that said, he pitched phenomenally. He was great. He pounded the strike zone. He got outs when he needed. And overall, I would like to say that he did earn his pinstripes. Do I want to still think he can do it in the ALCS against the Astros if the Yankees do make it there? Yes, but overall, 2 great starts. And now we believe moving into a game 1 that if he were to pitch, we think he can match up with Verlander. We think he can match up with Framber. It doesn't matter. It's Garrett Cole. And a week or so ago, I don't know if I believe that, even if the numbers told me I should have.
Yeah, I'm with you. How much do you think a 9-ounce container of spider tack on Amazon costs?
$7.
$43.
I was so off.
I
What?
think demand has gone up. You can get a 2.5-ounce little container of spider tack for $20, but like 9 ounces is $42.99 on Amazon. And I think the demand has been driven up because you got a whole bunch of jabronis like you and me saying, "Oh, we should buy some spider tack and see what it does." And we're just like playing catch with our son.
I think we're joking. I don't think he's using it.
No, he's not.
You?
Not
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't think
Not
he's
anymore.
using it. I don't think anybody's using it. I think it's tough when they're checking your hand, but maybe, I wouldn't put it past pitchers to have found another way of doing things.
No, it's called getting creative, man. And I'm
Yeah.
sure the pitchers have gotten creative, but I say good for you for.
But that's not the story.
No.
right?
It's not the story at all. It was literally just a side conversation there. That was an aside. But the story with Garrett Cole is he just went into one of the more hostile environments you will find in Major League Baseball. And that's Cleveland, Ohio in the postseason. And Josh Naylor rocking the baby around the bases, calling you his son.
But did he? So we have a tweet. I'd like to find it. I sent it into our group chat for a little bit of context about that play because everyone was saying that Josh Naylor was directing it at him. I don't think he was. So this is from Mandy Bell, who is the Guardians beat reporter for MLB.com.
Yeah, great work, Mandy does.
Great work. Tristan McKenzie talked about Josh Naylor rocking the baby celebration earlier this month. In quotes, nails, when he hits homers off people, he calls them his son, hence rocking the baby as he runs around the bases. So it's like, according to Tristan McKenzie,
it's any pitcher.
It's any pitcher, and it's the ball. Like, it's the home run that is his son, not the pitcher who gives it up. And Josh Naylor, down 2 runs, hits it off Garrett Cole, and I think emotions just got the best of him. Yeah. I don't think he was directing it at Garrett Cole. Did he kind of look over at him? And was there some, not intimidation
That's
factor,
the heat of
but
competition. I'm going to chalk that up to being the heat of competition.
And for some reason, even before I saw that, I didn't view it as he was doing it at Garrett Cole because I was like, that's almost too disrespectful to do it at Garrett Cole. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I was like, there's no way that was directed at Garrett Cole. And then when I saw that, I thought to myself, yeah, no shot. Because if that was actually directed at Garrett Cole, I mean, that's one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen in a sport.
Not only that, it's Garrett Cole pulls out his wallet from his back pocket, shows Josh Naylor the checks that he receives every other week and says, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah. Right? I think there was so the entire Guardians starting lineup plus Cal Quantrill makes $37 million and Garrett Cole makes $36 million.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, easy peasy. Garrett Cole is winning at life right now. He's the ace of the New York Yankees, and he's getting $324 million over the course of his career. So, yeah, Garrett Cole's winning, and he won yesterday. And the thing that sums it up was honestly just one pitch and the reaction after. Pitch number 110 of his outing, getting that punch out to end the 7th, and him coming off of the mound, walking towards the first base dugout, mean mugging and just yelling. That guy laid it all out on the line. And what I love about Garrett Cole, there are a lot of things that I don't love. I think that he is easily combustible. I think that there are times where things snowball on him where they shouldn't snowball on him. We see it a lot during the regular season. We heard his remarks about a game starting 3 minutes late and how that totally screwed him up. That shouldn't be the case with the $324 million ace of the New York Yankees. But what I do respect out of Garrett Cole is this guy can turn on that ultimate competitive switch like a switch. And he did it for 110 pitches against Cleveland on Sunday night. And seeing all that emotion pour out of him after that final pitch of his day was so fun to watch because that's a guy that has a level of give a shit that everybody strives to meet in their life.
It's incredible. It was incredible to watch him perform. He earned his money. He dominated. But I know that he knows it's not over because I know that he knows the Yankee fan base. And if he goes into a game 3 against the Astros in the ALCS, which is not a guarantee at all, but if he goes in and he gets bombed, it's the same thing again.
Yeah.
He is still walking this tight, and it's because of that start in Fenway. It is because of the home run problem in the 2021 season. Yeah. So, but it was phenomenal. It was great. I want to touch on a couple other storylines. because I think the one that maybe shined brightest because of quotes from Aaron Boone was the Clay Holmes situation.
Stupid.
I'm so when I saw the quote, I was livid. I was so upset. And because you couldn't define an emergency situation more than the Yankees getting walked off. You couldn't.
Yes.
I mean, it's 4-2. You got a couple outs. You put in Clark Schmidt, who is basically a rookie, into that scenario where he's not a closer. He's not used to coming in those type of situations. And while he's been good, you can't rely on someone like that on the road with runners on like that. That should have been a Clay Holmes appearance. But Aaron Boone, the story is that he was only going to use him in an emergency situation because he still felt that Clay Holmes was dealing with an injury.
Yeah, we need a definition of emergency from Aaron Boone, because I define that exact scenario as emergency, right? It was what? It was 4-3 at the time, bases loaded. And Oscar Gonzalez, I mean,
and you need a ground ball, and Clay Holmes has a -40 launch angle.
I mean, he is just sinker, sinker, sinker. You see what he did last night? He was sinker every single pitch until the last one when he got J-Ram.
So first, also Jose Trevino masterclass last night. Did you see? He was framing everything. I think he stole 4 or 5 strikes. Fantastic performance from him. But yeah, Clay Holmes was just sinker, 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 and they couldn't hit him.
So that's my thing. I love when people tweet about the umpires saying this zone is horrible in terms of like giving guys strikes off the strike zone, because that means that the catcher is good.
You have Trevino and Hedges, 2 of the best pitch framers in baseball. It's not really. Also, this was kind of the Alan Porter game over at first.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I love Costas and Darling every single time Porter did everything. Man, that's like the story here. Like, they were just talking up Alan Porter so much. And I was like, I kind of understand why. He was dominating. Like, Cole was great. Holmes and Wandy in the back end of the Yankees.
We power rank people that were really good, right? Yeah. Garrett Cole, Alan Porter, Wandy Peralta,
Jose Trevino, and Josh Naylor. But I think there is an aspect of it, like if the Guardians aren't getting their blue hits, it does seem like the offense doesn't really roll. And I think that was the issue coming into this series, that they have to be able to string together these hits. And against pitchers like Garrett Cole, it gets extremely, extremely hard. But we're going to preview Game 5, and I don't know how hard it will be against Jameson Taillon.
I'm not sure if it will be that hard or not. We shall see. Taillon, this is not his first appearance in the postseason. Earlier, he had a very unsuccessful appearance in extras, right, at Yankee Stadium.
But it was bloops. I mean, his location was bad. I was there. He was throwing everything right down the middle. But again, he was coming in a situation that he's not used to.
So I hear you on if the bloops didn't fall, it would be a different story and the Yankees would be dominating this series. But to that, I say the Guardians have been blooping and fisting soft singles everywhere all year long. And I heard a great line that I want to recycle here. If your grandmother had balls, she would be your grandfather. It's an if, right?
Yes. No, I'm not taking anything away from the Guardians. I even wrote it in my article when I was talking about the last game. I was just previewing and obviously not gambling on the game. And I said, it's not luck if it happens every game. Yes. It's just how the Guardians play.
How they do it.
They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They force the defense to work. Instead of striking out, they might hit a little bloop. And if you hit 5 bloops in a game,
one's going to fall.
1 or 2 is going to fall instead of those being strikeouts. So I'm not taking anything away from them, because this is a team that is not built on luck. It's built on putting the ball in play and testing the defense.
Yes.
And when you don't have an elite defense, more often than not, those will fall. But that's what I'm saying here, that they're not built on the home run. They're not built on the double in the gap. They're not built on anything like that. They're built on so if that bloop isn't falling, is what I'm saying, they are having a tough time putting together innings where they can score runs. A good example is last night. You know, they had a couple of hits, but Josh Naylor had that solo home run. But besides that, the offense never came to play.
No, and they're going to need Naylor. They're going to need J-Ram. They're going to need Oscar. They're going to need one of the 3 to really step up in game 5 for them to get this win tonight. Let's talk game 5, because we spent about 10 minutes before we hit the record button talking about what your play is for tonight. On the betting side, I'm just trying to compute how the hell this game is going to play out in my head. And I have no idea how, but I think we came to some good conclusions. And that was that if runs do come, they're going to come in the front half of the game against a Savali, against a Tyone, maybe against a Nestor that is not necessarily accustomed to coming out of the bullpen in a winner-take-all game, and maybe against a guy like Shane Bieber on short rest, or maybe a Trevor Stephan who comes out of the bullpen in the 3rd inning. It's going to be unfamiliar territory for a lot of pitchers in the front half of the game, and that's where I think the runs are going to come.
I agree. So before we talk specifically about what bet I'm going to make, because I'm still unsure, but this is kind of how you and I were talking about it pre-record, is that Jameson Taillon is going to get the ball. And in that relief appearance, he allowed 2 earned runs on 3 hits. His ERA in the postseason right now is infinity. Like, he didn't get an out. So that's what we're dealing with, Jameson Taillon. But again, it's not like the Guardians were hitting the piss out of the ball. Do I think that Jameson Taillon can pitch decently? Well, yes, but how long will he go is the question. I think he will go one time through the order. Here, this is how I would do it. You want to know how I would do it? I would go Jameson Taillon one time through the order. That's it. He's not going beyond 3 innings, in my opinion. Then I would go to Nestor, and I would get him for one time through the order. I like the righty-lefty split. And then what I'm going to go to is another righty. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go Lou Trevino. And then maybe you can go Wandy, you can go Loizaga, you can go Schmidt, you can go Holmes, you can do a lot of different things there. For the Guardians, what I want to do is I want to go Aaron Savali. To be honest, I don't want to go to Aaron Savali at all.
No, not at all.
But if you have to go to Aaron Savali, and I think the Yankees are going to hit him. I mean, they've hit him before. There was a start, I remember, where he threw 3 innings and gave up 5+ runs. And then there was another start where he went 6 innings, 4 runs. I am not confident, especially in Yankee Stadium with Aaron Savali pitching well. So, and then after Savali, what are the Guardians going to do? It's still unclear, but what we do know is that Stephan, Karinchak, and Clase have not pitched in the last 2 games. And those guys are their studs. De Los Santos is also going to be available. And when I saw him live, he throws pellets. I've watched him all year because I bet on the Guardians every 5th day. So I've seen everyone in this bullpen 30,000 times. But so they have plenty of guys. So I think runs will be at a premium in the later innings.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee, though. It's not a guarantee. But when I look at the early parts of the game, that's where I feel like the runs are going to come in. The Guardians are good off fastball slider guys. That's what Jameson Taillon really does. I mean, he's got the hook. It's more of a slurvy. It's just not that good of an off-speed pitch. And then you got Aaron Savali, who hangs stuff in the middle and he doesn't have the Yankees have trouble off guys who make you chase, right? They throw up and in.
Savali doesn't do that.
Savali's
a contact guy. Yeah.
And that's not a good recipe, especially against the Yankees.
So
and we saw it with Quantrill, like the guys who make the Yankees chase, like McKenzie and Bieber, they can pitch very well. Yes. Guys like Quantrill, who are in the zone a lot, not really chase, are trying to get you to induce soft contact. The Yankees do anything but hit soft contact. So I think the Yankees are going to go up early, but then I think the Guardians are going to fight back against a not well-rested Nestor. I just think it's going to be a really close game. Like, I think the Yankees get up early, Guardians tie it, and then there's fireworks at the end. And I would give the slight lean to the Yankees, but in a gambling context, I'm not paying a premium here, what the books are making us do.
Yeah, I hear you. If we were to construct a lineup that we think Boone is going to run out, is it identical to the one last night? Torres, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Donaldson. I assume those are a carbon copy. Oswaldo at short, Bader in center, Trevino catching, Hicks in left. If there is one change, do you think it's Cabrera going to left and IKF inserted for Hicks?
I would not put IKF in the game. I would not. He is pressing at shortstop. He can single-handedly lose you the game on defense at this current juncture. What I would do is I would put Carpenter in there.
Oh, yeah.
I would put Carpenter in there.
And you would have him do what?
I would have him play left.
Okay.
And I would put Oswaldo Cabrera at shortstop, who looked great, who's just such a dog.
Oswaldo's a dog.
Dog.
I'm a big fan of Oswaldo
Like,
Cabrera.
even if he doesn't hit, which is fine, he just has this intensity that I love on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, Boone called him a ball player. That's pretty awesome.
And Boone also said that IKF is pressing. And I thought to myself, he's been pressing all year.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an identical lineup here. I think that top five can get to Savali in the first inning. The way that I would look at it if I was Tito, and Tito is a Hall of Famer, Tito is never going to listen to a 24-year-old sitting in a studio apartment in Indianapolis, Indiana. But
maybe
here's how you could divide the game via 9 innings, right? So you've got Savali, Stefan, Karinchak, Clase. Who else? I want to throw Bieber in there. I think Bieber's going to pitch at some point tonight.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I think he should. I mean, Garrett Cole went on. Bieber should be ready. I wouldn't. I think we'll see Bieber in some aspect.
So that's 5 guys that you've got 9 innings to play with. The way I would do it, best case scenario, Savali for 2, Bieber for 2 after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 innings. Then you got Stefan for about 1 1/3.
I would go De Los Santos, then Stefan, then Karinchak, then Clase.
So you got 4 guys over 5 innings.
You can do that.
I feel great about that.
I feel great about that too. This is going to be a sick game.
It's going to be.
But it's awesome. Savali. Like, I would just start Bieber, because if you start Bieber, and you lose, you chalk it up. You gave it your best shot, right? I think Savali could be the reason they lose this game, and then it goes up early, and then it's just back and forth between bullpens, and then the Yankees end up winning. It could be wrong. That's all we can do here. But that just doesn't feel like the right decision here. If Savali had this history of being really good against the Yankees and he just had a bad season, you think, oh, well, he actually matches up good against the Yankees. He doesn't. He doesn't get you to chase. He's going to try and get you to ground out, and he's going to try and get you to
and this
fist
team
balls.
Lifts more than any other team.
And it's just not what's going to happen. And Bieber, he was a little shaky through the first inning. He gave up that home run to Stanton, but he really settled in and dominated. He dominated. He looked like Shane Bieber if it weren't for that home run from Giancarlo Stanton, which was also, it went out to right field, and it kind of barely went out. It's not like Stanton crushed that ball either. So, and I missed it. I was in line getting a steak sandwich, which was just, I was like, okay, I just missed the only Yankees runs that game.
Yes.
Which is fun.
Man, all right. If you haven't seen it on the social media sphere, Peter is putting together a graphic, and it's Apple's model.
My model.
And he pumps out a score for each game. And what I will say is, I haven't asked you about it. I think Apple's model is just you kind of feeling your nuts for about 5 seconds and saying, yeah, 5-2. That feels right.
It's exactly what happens. I thought it was funny too, because I got some comments under the 15 to, or yeah, it was one of them. It was one of the models I put out, and it was like, this is why I don't trust models and all the analytics. And I was like, you think I'm using analytics to predict these scores? Like, I didn't even comment back. I was just like, this is just my gut. This is my gut feeling about what I think the game is going to be. Like,
lower intestine.
Like,
yeah.
I've been betting on baseball. Like, I understand the scores of what I think it's going to be. It's not like I'm just throwing shit at a wall. Like, yeah, did I guess 15-2 when I was upset about the Yankees implosion in that game? So I said 15-2. Yeah, but that was the first time this is really what I think the score is going to be. So I'm not just bullshitting it, but at the same time, it's not like I'm calculating different aspects of the game. It's just what I think the score is going to be. That's it.
What is
my model? It's my brain's model.
What do you think the score is going to be? Feel your nuts. Put your hand in your pants for about 5 seconds. What do you think the score is going to be today?
A tie. No, I think it's going to be 4-3 Yankees, and the total's at 7.5. I think the Yankees are going to get a big home run early. I think the Guardians will end up tying the game, and off one of these Cleveland, that just doesn't. That makes me think like,
yeah.
I think you know what? I think the Yankees are going to get I think the Yankees are going to go up 3-0 early. I think the Guardians are going to claw their way back. The Yankees will score one more run. The Guardians are going to make it really close in the end. And then it ends 4-3.
I say 3-2 Guardians. It's 2-2 after the second inning with Savali and Taillon. One run's coming in the last 7 innings of the game, and it's going to come against the Yankee bullpen.
Who?
Nestor.
So you think it's still going to come early? So you think the Guardians are going to get up the lead in
I think we're going to be done
the
scoring.
4th or 5th?
I think we're going to be done scoring in the back half of the game.
I wouldn't be shocked. That Cleveland bullpen, Class A. I called Class A the Grim Reaper on Twitter. He is
so good.
He's better than Diaz. Sorry. Yeah, he is.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't. Dude. Yes.
No.
I think so.
All right, we're gonna do a little Fangraphs.
Do a little Fangraphs. Do a little Fangraphs.
We're gonna do a little Fangraphs comparison.
Do a little Fangraphs.
All right, I've got it pulled up now. Emmanuel Class A. Here we go. In the regular season in 2022, he had a 28% K rate. Opponents hit 165 against him. He had a 198 FIP. Okay.
Yep.
28% K rate, 165, 198 FIP. Edwin Diaz in the 2022 regular season had a 50.2% K rate. Opponents hit 158 against him, and he had a 0.9 FIP.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that Edwin Diaz didn't have a better regular season this season.
I mean, Diaz is the best closer in baseball. Class A second. There's no problem with second.
There's no problem with second, but I'm saying if I need 3 outs, I'm going with Class A.
I'm going with Edwin Diaz.
Wrong.
Okay, there we go.
No, it's just up to opinion because I mean we've seen Class A do it a little bit more in the postseason, and this is Diaz's first. I mean, he's had amazing seasons before. I mean, I remember back in 2018, he had a 196. In 2020, in that shortened season, he had a 175. But there have been years where he wasn't quite as good, and the peripherals always looked amazing for him. So I'm not going to judge a reliever on an ERA. He's always been very good. He's had a blip here and there, but that's the thing with Class A. Never had a blip. Never had to worry about peripherals versus ERA. It's always been elite. And then you look at the stuff. While Diaz throws 100, Class A's got a 100-mile-an-hour cutter. And then if you think that Diaz's slider is so amazing, it is. But Class A's got the slider too. I just think, who do I think is tougher to hit off of? I think that there is more of a possibility that hitters can hit Diaz's fastball than they can hit Class A's cutter. And then I think the slider is 100th percentile versus 98th percentile. Like
Opponents hit 114 against Diaz's slider. They hit 266 against his four-seamer. Okay. I will still say that Edwin Diaz is the best closer in baseball. But Class A is 2 for sure. All right, so you got 4-3 Yankees. I've got 3-2 Guardians.
Interesting. Cool.
We're going to recap the 3 series that are finished. But first, go to justbaseball.com, click on the shop, and use the code October15. And all of a sudden, you get sweet gear for like cheaper than you would normally get it for.
It's actually incredible. It's an incredible phenomenon. So what you're going to do is you're going to put October 15 in the promo code area. And you get 15% off. Hats, sweatshirts, long sleeves. It's all stocked up. And if you have a problem, so we've had a lot of people getting merch, which we appreciate, guys. At Lefty McKee, that's Kendall McKee. He's our merch coordinator. If you have a problem with shipping, because there have been a couple of states where people say, "Oh, it'll give you an alert where it says, oh, it won't ship to your," but it's almost like a bug on the website for some reason that Kendall then just has to approve certain states for whatever reason. But we ship to most states. We ship to Canada. Like we'll get you your merch. For some reason, in a couple of states, I know Maryland was one of them, that it gives you that alert and says we can't ship there. But if you just send him a message, he'll approve it and you're good to go. 15% off Just Baseball merch. Best way to support this show, as well as give us a 5-star review if you've been enjoying. Like, why not? Why not us?
100%. Why not?
Why not us, right?
If you get a hat, never take it off.
Never.
I think the next thing to come in the line is the winter hats. We need a Just Baseball beanie. I need a
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
We'll talk to Ken.
We'll talk. Well, I'll have my people call your people.
Okay, perfect. Winner of Yankees-Guardians is going to see the Houston Astros, who swept over 4 games, I will say. I think this series finished 3-0-1 in favor of the Houston Astros because they won an 18, 1-0 in that game in Seattle. I was working Ball State football on Saturday afternoon. It was a 2:00 kickoff. Game ends around 5:45. They beat UConn. Shout out the Cardinals. Chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah, taking on Jim Mora. You remember Jim Mora, the head coach of UCLA? He's now at UConn. And he apparently lives in a haunted house. And he said there's good ghosts living in his house.
UConn is terrible.
It's awful. Not that shitty this year. They're less shitty now. So acknowledge that.
You know what I'm acknowledging? The 6-0 Syracuse Orange.
Oh, yeah. Shout out them. Dino's got the boys right. Boys are right. Sean Tucker, beast.
All I got to say is Alabama has 1 loss. Syracuse has no losses. Do with that information with what you will.
Tennessee's got no losses, man. Josh Heupel, Hendon Hooker. I mean, come on. But the Houston Astros. We finished the game at like 5:45-ish. Wrap up post game at like 6:15. Get in the car with my broadcast partner. And we're driving back about 45 minutes. About halfway through the drive, say, oh, well, Houston and Seattle are scoreless going into the 7th. You mind if I turn that on? He's like, yeah, for sure. 7th through 10th, I'm listening to Rick Riz on the radio for the Mariners. And then 11 through 18, I'm not taking my eyes off the television. That was the best baseball theater I've experienced in a very, very long time. And there were no runs to come.
I know. I totally agree with you. And for some reason, that Cleveland Rays game that went 15 innings and there was no runs, for some reason, this game was so much more entertaining. And I couldn't put my finger on it.
I'll tell you exactly what it was. I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was Seattle. It was the first game in Seattle in like 20 years in the postseason.
And I don't think fans sat down for 2 straight hours.
No.
Actually, the game started at around 4, ended at what, 9:45?
It was a 6-hour, 22-minute game.
I don't think they sat down in Seattle. Well, let's talk about the actual game.
It was the most fun I've had. And I'm a pitching dork. Like, I love it. So
me too.
Exactly. Like, I would prefer this over like 10-9 in 9 innings, just because it's like, oh, what's Hector Neris going to do? What's Rafael Montero going to do? What's Ryan Stanek going to do? How about Hunter Brown going 2 scoreless innings? How about Luis Garcia going 5 innings of 2-hit shutout ball, striking out 6 and walking none from, what was it, the 13th through the 18th? I mean, come on, man. Like,
I got to say, I would rather a 10-9 game. In the playoffs, that is electric. That is electric.
Is like, who the hell's going to score here?
No, I agree.
42 combined punch-outs in this game. Insane. And then you have Kirby, right? I mean, he was incredible. In his first postseason start, tip of the cap to George Kirby. Andres Munoz was great. Matt Brash, dick on the table moment to end, the 9th. And then you got Sewald going 2 scoreless innings. You got Swanson, Festa, Matt Boyd, Penn Murphy, although Murphy was the one to give up the run. I mean, it was just like, it was 2 dynamite bullpens going back and forth for a game, like a game and a half.
There was
And it
one
was so
mistake,
fun.
that was made, and that was the Penn Murphy sinker to Jeremy Pena,
Yeah.
who hit it out of the park, and that ended up being the game. I just want to also shout out Luis Garcia, threw 5 shutout at the end of that game.
Yeah.
What a performance. Are you kidding me?
It was great.
A guy who's been in the starting rotation all season didn't make the final rotation for the Astros because that's how good the Astros are. And he came in and dominated. I thought that was one of the best pitching performances of the postseason so far, considering the circumstances.
It was fantastic.
You in that game, you had to throw a shot. It's different than when you're starting and anything can happen. But he came in from the 13th through the 18th inning, through 5 innings, 2 hits. Everything was working. But the Mariners, man, they couldn't put anything together offensively. And someone else on the other side who couldn't put anything together offensively, Jose Altuve, 0 for 16. He went 0 for 8 in that final game. I've never seen that ever from Jose Altuve. I've never seen him struggle like that ever.
So what was crazy to me was Altuve and Yordan Alvarez combined to go 0 for 15 with 5 punch-outs in that game.
You just don't see that.
No, not at all. And Kyle Tucker was 2 for 7. Both of his hits were singles. I mean, leave it to Jeremy Pena in that 8 spot. And he was 1 for 8. Like that's not a good day, 1 for 8.
In the 2 spot. He was in the 2 spot.
Yeah. And Pena has officially taken over for Carlos Correa. And we knew that he had taken over in like May because he had a great start to his major league career. But I mean, if anybody had any doubt as to how the Astros would fare in a post-Correa world, might I point you to Jeremy Pena, because this guy is going to be the shortstop for the Houston Astros. I bet they hand him a contract. I bet he's the shortstop for the Astros for the next 10 years, 12 years.
The glove is taken care of, and if he hits like this, it's more than taken care of.
Yes.
There are a couple more things that I really want to shout out about the Astros, because first, 6 straight ALCSs.
Yeah.
That level of consistency is almost unmatched. This is a dynasty at this point. Yeah. And I think at this point, they are the World Series favorites, and they should be. And they were probably going into this playoffs one of, if not the postseason. I mean, it was the Dodgers, then it was them in terms of the odds, and the Astros were right there. And they are the only 1 seed to make it out. I remember I had this theory at the beginning of the postseason that this break that these division leaders had, that they couldn't build up momentum moving forward from a MLB season where you play every day. You're built on that. Baseball players are built on routine, and then you mess up that routine. We saw the Dodgers lose out, which we're going to talk about in a minute. We saw the Braves lose out, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But the Astros were the one team, and maybe the Yankees might do it. Remember, we still have this game ahead of us. But for the Astros to sweep, not only was the sweep incredibly impressive because the Mariners are so good and deserve to be here. And if you put the Mariners against the Guardians or Mariners against the Yankees, I think we both agree that they could have beaten any of them. Yeah. That's how good the Astros are. Even with the break that ruined every other 1 seed, even facing the Mariners, they were able to sweep. They went head to head with the Mariners bullpen, which is so good. The Mariners starting rotation, which is so good. They just were better in every facet than them, which is just incredible. And it is if I'm a Seattle Mariner fan sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, that was basically the World Series because the Astros are going to win it anyway. We just faced them in round 1.
Yeah,
best I'm not taking anything away from them. It's all Astros. It's incredible what they do.
That was the toughest sweep the Astros will ever have. I mean, that was as tightly contested a swept series can possibly look.
I mean, the comeback at the end, I mean, they were winning that game. And then, I agree with you. It was incredibly tough. It could easily have been 2-1 Mariners.
Walk-off homer down 1. Yordan pokes one into the Crawford boxes in the 7th inning in game 2. And then you've got an 18-inning 1-0 game in game 3. That is the hardest sweep you will find in any postseason series ever. I'll stand by it. The other thing that impresses me so much about Houston, and I think why they were a clean sweep between me, you and Aram as our World Series winner when we picked the postseason is because somehow the pitching's not taxed right now. They've got a double off day. They start on Wednesday, a triple off day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they're going to have off. And here you are, you can run out Christian Javier, who made one appearance out of the bullpen in the ALDS to start game one.
Who was like a top 15 pitcher in Major League Baseball this year.
So Javier can start game one. Then you can roll to a well-rested Justin Verlander game two, a well-rested Framber Valdez game three, and a well-rested Lance McCullers game four, and have Luis Garcia and Hunter Brown ready to go out of the bullpen whenever you need. And oh, by the way, this game went 18 fucking innings, and they didn't turn to Jose Urquidy.
They didn't need him.
This pitching depth is freakishly good, and you acknowledge starting pitching depth as the thing that gets you through the postseason. The Astros somehow just played the most taxing 3-game set you could have possibly played, and here they are, not taxed at all.
They are the only team where there's not a pitcher from the top of the rotation to the bottom of the bullpen where I don't have confidence in can get me 3 outs in any situation against any team.
Last year, I would have
besides Jose Urquidy, I guess.
No, last year I would have said Urquidy. This year, not the case because they've been tighter leash on him this year than they were last year.
I agree. I just, if I'm going to hold them to that high of a standard, like I would be nervous Urquidy coming in a scoreless game against the Yankees or the Guardians.
This team that was 2 games away from winning the World Series last year added Justin Verlander and Lance McCullers to the fold.
This is the best version of the Astros we've seen.
Yes.
They are incredible.
Keep on saying it. Another
give it to Seattle. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. It's such a tough way to go out, but I know you can hold your head high knowing that there will be more series ahead and that you went up against most likely the World Series winner. Yes. That's what happened. And you just happened to face him in round 1. Like, I guess it could have been cooler if you faced the Guardians or the Yankees, beat them, and then face the Astros in the LCS, but I feel like the same thing would have been written. It's just the Astros are incredible.
Yeah, you're losing to the best team in the postseason. All right. How about the best team in the regular season getting bounced in 4 games? San Diego wins game 4, 5-3. Hader collects his 3rd save of the postseason. And the Dodgers are done after 4 games. I mean, credit to San Diego. Like, that crowd at Petco was infectious. It was as wild as Seattle's was. San Diego can make some noise, man. I mean, they've got the makings. My one worry about them is starting pitching. That's my one concern there.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're going to go to Clevenger again, which sucks.
Yeah. I guess my one worry is the middle innings because Suarez, Garcia, and Hader are dominant.
Yeah.
Besides that, I get a little nervous.
Tim Hill? You're not a fan of Tim Hill?
Not really. But with Musgrove, Snell, and Darvish, you can do anything in any spot.
Yeah.
I mean, if Snell didn't even have it fully and he beat the Dodgers. Musgrove didn't have it fully, but the Padres won that game. Like, Darvish didn't have it fully, but kept them in the ball game. That's the Dodgers we're talking about. When you watch this Dodgers team and you got Mookie, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, that's an all-star team. That is the beginning of an all MLB team. Yeah. If you could pick one leadoff hitter for the all MLB team, you'd probably pick Mookie. If you had to pick a shortstop, you might pick Trey Turner. If you needed a first baseman, probably Freddie. You could say Goldschmidt this year, but probably Freddie. And then at catcher, one hitter, probably Will Smith.
Yeah.
And the Padres did their job. Yeah. Juan Soto did his job. Manny Machado. How about the bottom of the lineup with Grisham and Nola?
And how about Jake Cronenworth in game 4? I mean, it's
huge. And that comeback, that was about as electric as playoff baseball can get. Dodgers choked. And they've been choking. 111 wins. You see all over Twitter at the beginning of the postseason. Should the Dodgers just be awarded the World Series? We were almost just crowning them before they even deserved anything. But this is a team that dominates the regular season, beats the living piss out of the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. And then the Padres in the regular season. They roll because their depth is incredible, similar to the Astros. But when it's all said and done, this team has folded year in and year out. They have. They won a 2020 championship. People call it Mickey Mouse. I don't. I give him to that. I give him that one. But again, that was the 2020 season. And they have now been the perennial favorite. They spend more money than anyone. Now with the Mets and Steve Cohen, that may change. But they spend more money than anyone. They constructed a super team. And they have nothing to show for it again.
Yeah.
We talked about how good Yancy Almonte was. Gave up the lead. They are good on paper. They look great, but there is something there. And Dave Roberts guaranteeing a World Series while the Dodgers said that they're going to keep him. You can't do that.
He gets in his own head.
Yeah. His decisions are not great. Not great.
My thing is he makes too many. I don't like how many decisions he makes. Like, so Tyler Anderson going 5 innings. He allowed 2 hits.
He was dominant.
Yeah. Why not put him out there for a 6th and push everybody back a little bit so you have Chris Martin ready for a 7th? It was the 7th inning that got them screwed. I mean, Tommy Kahnle allowed 3 runs and didn't get an out. And then Yancy Almonte came in and blew the save. And then Vesia came in and finally ended that 7th inning. And then you go to Evan Phillips, and he turns in a 1-2-3 inning, and he strikes out the side in order. So it's that 7th of Kahnle, Almonte, and Vesia. They needed 3 arms to get through the 7th inning. My thing is, if you were a little bit more loose with Tyler Anderson, who was great, let him start the 6th, I think this is a different story, man. But for some reason, he feels like he needs to be 2 steps ahead of everything, when in reality, you only have to be a step ahead.
I think we're also playing Monday morning quarterback. Literally, it's Monday morning after the game. Because let's say he gave Tyler Anderson the leash. And we're thinking to ourselves, we just saw Tommy Kahnle shove. Like, dominate the Padres. We've seen Yancy Almonte dominate. And then he gives up. Are we thinking to ourselves, why didn't he go to the bullpen? Okay. I'm unsure about that. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but we are playing Monday morning quarterback.
Yes.
But I feel like just using that situation to describe Dave Roberts, I mean, this has been, maybe that decision wasn't bad because at the end of the day,
I think it's a microcosm.
It is. That's the perfect way to describe it. It's a microcosm of what's been happening to the Dodgers for the last half decade.
Julio Urias crossed 100 pitches twice this year. Tyler Anderson, you're telling me at 86 pitches, he can't start a 6th inning? It's all a microcosm, man. I mean, Tony Gonsolin doesn't log innings. Anderson doesn't log innings. Kershaw wasn't logging innings. I mean, nobody was allowed to just go out there and roll. The last time somebody was allowed to go out there and roll was last year and Walker Buehler. And I'm not saying like that did Buehler in for a second torn UCL, but I'm sure Dave Roberts is thinking, oh, I can't have a guy go 7 anymore. Yes, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I agree with you. In the moment, I thought to myself, why isn't Tyler Anderson still pitching? Like, why did they do that? That was maybe the best start that they've gotten from a starter this postseason. It was. Clayton Kershaw got hit. Julio Urias got hit in the 5th. Tony Gonsolin barely even made it. And then Tyler Anderson gave you the best start. And also Tyler Anderson has been dominant this year. Why were you not confident in this guy? He was maybe the Dodgers' best starting pitcher besides Julio Urias over the full season because Gonsolin got hurt and Clayton Kershaw. Well, Clayton Kershaw was really good too. But the Dodgers were just really good. But Tyler Anderson, there was no reason for you to believe that he didn't deserve another inning there. And then you shorten the amount of bullpen that you need. I agree, but it's just credit to the Padres, the amount of fight that they had, the belief. Bob Melvin pressing all the right buttons. If we're talking about managers, let's give him a ton of credit. Seemed like every decision he made was perfect. The lineups he constructed. I thought he did a phenomenal job. And the Padres deserve this. And now they're the favorites going into the series in the ALCS. Will they win? We're going to talk about it probably in the next episode.
Yeah.
But they have a chance to make this World Series. They are a fantastic team, overcoming the loss of Fernando Tatis Jr., arguably a top 5 player when healthy.
Padres are going to the NLCS with Ha-Sung Kim hitting leadoff. Last thing
against
me
lefties.
Last thing from me, I love the way Bob Melvin is using Josh Hader, because we talked about it in the wild card series. David Cohn brought up a great point. Buster Olney bolstered that point. He said Hader has been better on longer rest. And the way that Bob Melvin is using Hader, and the beauty of postseason ball is you get that off day travel day sprinkled in here. I think that Bob Melvin is going to use Hader perfectly, where he's not going to throw back-to-back days, and he's going to look like vintage Hader, where he strikes out the side in order to wrap up his third save and to send the Padres to the NLCS.
And I think what I was a little bit nervous about for the Padres was, I thought to myself, well, who's going to be the guy in the bullpen outside of Hader? Because I believe that Hader, especially with that great end of the season, that he was going to come back and he was going to be vintage Josh Hader. And he has been. But I thought to myself, do I really like Luis Garcia that much? Do I really like Robert Suarez that much? And the more I watch them, the more I'm falling in love with them.
Yes.
They blow cheese. They're tiptoeing around, right? They go after you with 101 and say, hit it. I dare you. It's coming at you hard, and it's coming at you right here, up in the zone. Good breaking balls. These guys are dominant. Luis Garcia, especially. I mean, just a horse up there. Kind of looks like De Los Santos, except pumping. I mean, De Los Santos pumps too with the Guardians. But man, I mean, these guys, there are horses. These are bulls.
Yeah.
These are big boys coming in, blowing cheese. Padres got it all, man. They have the bullpen now. They have the 3 starters on any given day. They can look like an ace. Musgrove, Snell, Darvish. And then you have an explosive lineup where there's no rests. You would think Nola and Grisham would be the rest, but they've been unreal.
What they don't have is the momentum that the Phillies have.
I think both teams are coming in with momentum. That's why this is going to be such an incredible series.
I think the Phillies have this unmatched momentum right now. They take down the defending World Series champs 8-3 in Game 4. I mean, they got to Chuck Morton immediately. We knew that Charlie Morton was combustible, and he did combust here. You got a double from Brandon Marsh and Gene Segura. You got homers from Marsh, Realmuto, Harper. Before we get any farther, I said before the wild card series, I want to see a legacy cementing postseason from Bryce Harper. With the Phillies going to the NLCS in 6 games for the Phils so far, Bryce Harper leads the entire postseason with a .435 batting average, with an OPS over 1,400. He's tied for the lead with 3 bombs. He's one back at Jordan with 6 RBIs, and he's the postseason leader in hits with 10. You ask for a legacy cementing postseason, you shall receive a legacy cementing postseason. He is the postseason MVP to this point. Bryce Harper is maybe the most valuable player in baseball. He won MVP last year because he willed the Phillies into postseason contention by himself last year. There's a chance he takes the fucking Philadelphia Phillies to the World Series by going nuclear against the San Diego Padres.
The difference is that this year they have plenty of other hitters too.
Yes.
When you look at the Phillies lineup, I mean, similar to the Padres, where's the rest? I know Schwarber has not been good this postseason. Rhys Hoskins has that huge home run with one of the most, it wasn't a bat flip, it was a bat stomp. That was electric. JT Realmuto has been solid this postseason at the plate. Nick Castellanos has been good. Alec Bohm has been decent. Stott, not as much, but at the bottom, again, Gene Segura, Brandon Marsh have been some of the best hitters in the lineup. So while Bryce Harper is the leader with a 1,437 OPS, but this time he's not leading by himself. There is no rest in the Phillies lineup, similar to the Padres, but unsimilarly to the Atlanta Braves, where Eddie Rosario didn't show up this series. William Contreras didn't show up. Michael Harris, the young rookie, didn't show up. Austin Riley didn't show up. Travis d'Arnaud played great. Matt Olson played great. Dansby Swanson didn't show up. So there was a plenty of rests in the Braves lineup when there was no rests in the Phillies lineup. And can I take my victory lap?
On
Phillies
the
series
Phillies,
price being the Braves.
Sure, go ahead.
No, I just want you to shower me with praise.
Yeah, so not only are you super handsome.
All right, I like this. I'm gonna sit back.
You guessed correctly that the Phillies beat the Braves. That's it.
Is that it? Is that it?
That's it.
I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get. No, but really what I saw a Phillies team beat the Cardinals, who I, again, was super high on, and I thought they built that momentum. I also had this theory that these one seeds were going to struggle, even though I didn't really put my money where my mouth is when we did the bracket, because I just thought it would be a little bit too much. But I should have stuck to my guns, and I thought this was going to be a problem. And I saw the Phillies coming in with Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, and I thought to myself, there's not a lot of losses here for the Phillies unless Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez don't perform, and they did. I mean, especially Nola. I mean, geez, was he phenomenal. Wheeler had that one inning, which really happened because of the Rhys Hoskins miscue. I mean, both of them are some of the best pitchers in the league, and when you have two of them, it's what the Mets thought they had with DeGrom and Scherzer. The Phillies have with Wheeler and Nola. And Suarez was great. And the Phillies bullpen, really good. We got to shout out some guys here, Jack. We got to shout out some guys here. Sir Anthony Dominguez, one of my favorite relievers in baseball this season, was great. Brad Hand, Jose Alvarado, while not as good as in the regular season, is still giving you his best. Zach Eflin, Bilotti. They have guys. They do. They can weather the storm after their great starters. But the difference in these great starters and the Dodgers' great starters is the Dodgers' great starters go 5. Wheeler and Nola go 7.
Think about the Phillies winning a game to go to the NLCS by using Noah Syndergaard for 3 innings, who is a shell of his former self, and the Phillies bullpen, which has been branded as a disaster for the last decade, for 6 innings.
They win a game 8-3 against the Atlanta Braves.
It's a new Phillies team.
It's a new Phillies team. But can we talk about the Braves for a second? I mean,
you mentioned that a lot of guys stunk.
It's tough to I remember it was so funny. I was watching the Q's game with a couple of my buddies, and a lot of them are from Atlanta, and I haven't seen them in a long time. And they listen to the Just Baseball show. They say, of MLB podcasts, it's hard to find a more pro Braves podcast than you guys. You guys love the Braves, and we love listening to. And then you turned on us, me specifically. They're talking about me. You turned on us, and I said, "Yeah, I pick who I think is going to win," and I thought the Phillies were going to win. But while we have been so pro Braves, let's hold them accountable here. They were the favorites in this series, and they lost, and it wasn't even that close. A lot of the stars didn't show up. The starting rotation, they put Strider in when he didn't look healthy. That home run to Rhys Hoskins was 93.8 miles an hour. You're telling me Strider was fully healthy there? Didn't look like it to me. He started off great, cut the cord because he didn't look all the way there. Fried didn't show up. We're holding, we've been all over Garrett Cole. Are we going to hold Max Fried accountable for not showing up?
Well, here's the difference. Fried has put together incredible postseason outings time and time again.
So was Garrett Cole. He had that one blow-up start, but it just ingrained in our minds so much.
Yeah, but Max Fried isn't a New York Yankee. That's the big difference.
But now Max Fried just had that Garrett Cole start.
No, we're not looking at Fried as that was a one-off.
Garrett Cole had a one-off.
Yeah, I think everybody's realizing that it was a one-off now.
Okay.
But again, Garrett Cole,
I just think we should hold people. Favors. We should hold people to the same accountability that we hold others.
But acknowledge that Cole and Fried are different situations, because not only is Garrett Cole the ace of the New York Yankees, but he also does not build himself much capital by freaking out over very minor things during the regular season.
Okay. But I'm still going to hold Fried accountable for, you're the ace of the Atlanta Braves, the World Series champion, and your game 1 against the Phillies and Ranger Suarez. You have to win that game, and he got crushed.
Yeah. What I will say is Dansby sucked. Austin Riley really sucked, and Michael Harris really sucked.
And those are guys that have been MVP candidates this year, and they didn't show up. That's all I'm saying. If we're going to hold Yankee guys accountable, we're going to hold, we're going to hold Dodgers accountable. Let's hold Braves accountable, because we have been so pro Braves, and we're not just going to gloss over them. They were dominant this year. They had an incredible regular season, and they stunk it up when it mattered most. That's just the fact of the situation. The Mets, we held them accountable. Oh, yes, we held the Mets accountable. We bagged on them. Let's bag on the Braves. That's all I'm saying here. We've been so pro Braves. They didn't show up. But to the Braves' credit, they won the World Series last year. It's very hard to repeat. And overall, they had a successful season and ran into a really hot Phillies team who deserves all the praise in the world.
Yes. All right. We're going to talk Phillies, Padres tomorrow. We're going to have a winner of the ALDS. We're going to have an ALCS matchup. So we'll talk about that Yankees-Guardians game 5 tomorrow. And we'll pick who's going to the World Series. Cool?
Can't wait.
Awesome.
That Bart Scott, Jets.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. No, how about the Jets, man? Good on the Jets. All right.
New York football this year, 14-4.
Yeah.
Bills,
not
Jets,
terrible.
Giants.
Not terrible. And the Bills are better than the Jets and Giants, promise you.
Maybe.
All right. Peter's going to have a Monday Night Football pick out for you in a matter of minutes. Nothing else from me. Again, October 15 on the site. Leave us a 5-star review. Whole bunch of written content at justbaseball.com. I think that's about it with that.
And with that, thank you, everybody.